Hello and welcome back to Minecraft All the Mods 10, and in today's episode we're going to be making a zoo. Now, how are we going to make a zoo exactly? Well, we're going to be using the Corrail Tombstones mod. Now, like how we got our baby dragon, we have a fair few receptacles that we have been keeping over time from killing mob bosses. They are like a drop. Some of them will have mobs in them, some of them won't. Any ones that have a mob in them, I've kept. That is how we're going to be making a zoo. However, we have all these receptacles, but only one grave. So I quickly made a few more. That's a little bit better. Now, the zoo will be located within the Japanese village. In fact, I have the area marked out right now. I want this thing to look like one of them aquarium dome-looking things where you walk through it and you can see the fish above you and things like that. That's how I exactly want this to look. So we're going to start off by digging a tunnel from one edge of the mountain, curving round to the other side. For many hours digging, we were finally through to the desired place that I wanted to finish this. You can see it curves off and goes in diagonals and all sorts. The next thing to do was actually start working on the tube itself. So I needed to find some glass that was not too obstructive, had connecting textures, and something that I liked. And I ended up settling on the hard bordered glass. Now, I wanted a clear 5 walkway on the inside of this tube. The tube itself is actually a 7 wide tube. When trying to figure out the curvature of this tube, I was trying to get it as most circular as I possibly could. However, with it being such a small walkway, I settled on a 3 high on the sides, 1 diagonal, and then 3 at the top, going horizontal, completing the tube. Now, I don't want this in one continuous glass tube. I want it in like unit. And I did it in blocks of 10. And the way we're going to separate these units is by using oxidized steel pillars, tiles, and the chiseled oxidized steel. Now, we can get that from Eternal Starlight. To give this glass tube some light, I think I'm going to use some light blue light strips from the Simple Light mod and put them on the inner corners of the tube. So now that the whole tube is complete, it's time to mine out the exhibit areas. And I didn't want to just do this in a simple manner of me mining blocks, but let's get a bit creative with it. I'll try and use some TNT, and it also will give us that natural carved out feel for the cave. Once all the TNT was placed down, it was then simply to run along the line and light it. And we did manage to uncover a cave, which would help us out a lot. But other than that, not much really got broken. So there was still a lot to do by hand. And after thousands of TNT and many hours later, the area was mined out. Now, I have already done one side filled with grass. And I'll go through how I do the other side with you right now because it's very quick. I was using the exchanging gadget. I was setting it to grass block. I wanted it to replace everything in a 15 by 15 area with a grass block. And it would exchange all the stone and anything else that I wanted out with grass block. And you can see within just mere seconds, this place is now transformed into a field. And all we'll have to do is go back through and tidy up some of the little areas that it has missed, because if there is if we have a 15 by 15 stone area with a little bit of an ore in there, it'll only replace the stone and not the ore. So we have to go back through it and sieve through all of the cobblestone, the ores, limestone, things like that. And then this place is ready to be decorated. And the first bit of decoration is lighting. Now, obviously, we're in a cave. It's going to be rather quite dark. So I'm going to try and sneak in some lighting underneath our little walkway tube. I'm going to use some sea lanterns within the wall, 1 block underneath our walkway. And we'll space them every so often until both sides are now finished. And of course, whatever we decide to put in here mob-wise, we can't have them getting thirsty. So we've got a few spots and areas for little ponds for the animals and mobs to drink out of. We just have to quickly fill those in with water. And when doing natural terrain like this, don't underestimate the power of a moss block. Now, when we place these moss blocks down, I'm going to be bone mealing them and they will spread, and even some little trees may form. We'll also be bone mealing just normal grass as well, because of the biome that we're in, and it's very like a flower based biome, we'll be getting all kinds of flowers and things like that to make this area down here look absolutely spectacular. I'm also going to add some cherry leaves around to act as bushes, just again to add that little bit of extra colour to the area. And I'm also going to grow a cherry tree in here, but this is because it has a leaves falling effect, and I really like that. So I'm going to grow a few of these cherry trees, and this area is coming together very nicely. Now, the only few things that I need to add now are glowberries that grow from the ceiling, grow down. Again, this is another source of light when the glowberries do grow. And I'm also going to grow some rock leaves as well, because they will also grow down, giving this whole cave that natural feel. Now, some of the azalea bushes I will also grow as well, so we get some lush trees. And then for extra lighting, we're going to use some glowstone, but hide it with moss carpet so it can't be seen from anywhere inside the tube. Making sure I use F7 so I can see which spots aren't lit up, to make sure they are lit up when I'm finished. Don't forget to add lily pads and things like that to give a little bit of extra detail in the water. And other than moss patches in the walls and the ceilings, that's one side pretty much completed. So I'll crack on now with the other side, and I'll be back with you once that is finished. All that's left to do now is the front, the back, the path, and then it's ready for the mobs. So let's tackle the path. Now, of course, we want to, when mining out the path, we want to get underneath the glass as well, because we don't want to see stone, dirt, gravel, anything like that. So we mine out underneath the glass as well. And the block we're going to use for the path is deep slate tiles. And once the path was finished, it was time to work on the front. Now, of course, this is within our Japanese village, so it needs to keep in theme of Japanese style building, which is why I kept in theme with the mangrove, stripped mangrove, the smooth sandstone, some deep slate tiles, and even some mushroom stem blocks, even using some trapdoors to create a door. I also planted a few cherry trees around the front and made it so the building had been formed inside of the mountain as well. So making it natural all the way around. And I've already done the back, So all that's left to do now is get some mobs in. Now, when spawning these mobs in, I was a little bit worried that maybe they'll teleport everywhere around us and follow us around. So they'd teleport out of the pen. And this was the case for some of the mobs, not all of them. And as we were spawning them in and trying to take them over, I was trying to use the safari net from Industrial Foregoing, but didn't seem to want to place down some mob that was stuck inside. So I ended up going into Forbidden and Arcanus and getting the mob catcher that way. That one seemed to work rather quite well. And yeah, we managed to get some of our mobs in there. We got a donkey, we got a zombified horse, we got like an owl with a skeleton, a few other little things, and some of them actually did die before actually spawning in as well. I don't know if they were just glitched ones or whatever, but they didn't make it and blah blah blah. So we only had a handful of mobs in there at this point in time, but we'll always be adding on to it. And even if the ones that do teleport away, over time, I think we'll just capture some mobs, some peaceful mobs that we've never really seen before that are pretty rare, and we'll just throw them in here as like something we can go look at, you know? But that's going to do us for today's episode. So thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you all again for the next Minecraft Old Mods 10 video. Bye-bye.